Welcome to my channel. This video is for a hair bow mum. Please consider joining my YouTube family by subscribing, and don't forget to tap that bell for notifications on my uploads and live streams. I also now have memberships available. Here's a quick look at the perks. You can also go to my channel and look under memberships for more information. To make the top bow part of the hair bow mum, I need 36 inches of ribbon. Now, no two are going to turn out exactly the same, so sometimes they come up a little short, sometimes a little long. I'm using this small mat I got from Dollar Tree. It's 6 by 8, so it's perfect for making hair bow mums. So I want the width of my bow to be 6 inches wide. And again, sometimes I go a little under, a little over, and I just want to form it like this. And you can actually do more loops if you want. This one will have 2 loops and 1 tail on each side. If you wanted to do another loop on each side, then you need to add 6 inches of ribbon for each extra loop. So now I'm just going to take a needle and thread, and I found this to be the very best way to do it for the hair bow mums. And I'm just sewing right in the center. I'm just gathering it. I'm just kind of going in and out, sewing in and out of the ribbon to gather it really good in the center. And do it as many times as you can. Don't make real wide seams. I don't know what to call that, but just like try to go in and out really like a lot of times, several times, because you want it really cinched really good, tight. And then I'm just going to wrap that around a few times and then tie like 3 knots so it doesn't come undone. It's very simple. It's not anything difficult at all. And I have tried doing it like with just gathering it and twisting it with a chenille stem like I would with a wreath, but it just doesn't turn out as well, especially with the grosgrain ribbon. But this is a wired ribbon, and I took the wire out of it. So it's going to be a little bit thinner than your regular like grosgrain ribbon for hair bows. You can use soft satin ribbons. You can use any kind of ribbon you want. Every ribbon's going to be a little bit more difficult to work with. The only ones that I don't sew are the glitter ribbons, like a wired glitter ribbon that's really thick with the glitter. It's just going to be impossible to put the needle in there. So with those, I do use a chenille stem, and I do tie it off or gather it just like I would a wreath pinwheel bow, which I do have tutorials for that for wreath bows. So if you want to see how I do that. Then I'm just going to trim up the ends, make them nice and pretty. This makes such a real pretty pinwheel bow, and I have found that these pinwheel bows make the best hair bow mum. Now I've already done the royal blue in the grosgrain ribbon, exactly the same size and everything, and I had after I'd made that, I had realized that I had this blue and white chevron, and I thought, oh, that will make such a cuter bow, but I didn't want to waste that bow, so I'm putting them together. I didn't know how that was going to turn out because I usually just do one layer of bow on the top, but it turned out to be very cute. I really like it. Actually, the last couple that I've actually made them 2 layers like this because it's fuller. I just thought it looks so much better. So cute. I'm sure I'll still do some 1 layer. It'll just depend on the ribbon, but that chevron is, like I said, pretty thin, and it's going to be pretty flat, so it really helped it out to have that solid blue underneath it. And then I'm just tying them off with a chenille stem to connect the 2 of them together, just twisting it a couple times on the back. And then you can also add some hot glue in between to hold them together as well. And here is my French clip, which is what I use to attach the streamers to, and then the bow itself. I cut the ribbon streamers approximately 8 inches long. You can do a little shorter than that, a little longer than that. You don't want to go too short, or they may not lay correctly because you want them to fall, down and make these nice little streamers. Then I'm just cutting pretty ends into them, and I start out with the acetate ribbons on the background, and then you can add pretty ribbons as well. You could do just acetate ribbons if you wanted to, and you could even do some small braids. I don't think I've done any with braids yet or chains, but I like just doing the fun ribbons, a trinket, a couple of bells, and then of course the vinyl with I do 2 ribbon streamers with vinyl on them. I don't want people to get carried away and then have to do a bunch of streamers with vinyl on it. That will be just too much work and will compromise the look of the hair bow mum, because part of the look is for the cute ribbons, but when they start wanting more and more vinyl on it, then that takes away from what I can do. It can be difficult enough as it is to come up with 2 ribbons that are seen fully to put 2 things on them, like 2 words on them or 2 names on them. So I don't go any more than that. Again, so you want to, when you're gluing these, you want to always pick it up and hold it like it was going to be worn. That way you know how these ribbons are going to fall, because just because they look nice laying flat like that and they look all even, you pick it up and hold it and you realize that they lay a completely different way. So you want to keep holding it up and making adjustments to the ribbons. So you're going to want to spread those ribbons out left and right a lot further than what you would think, because when you pick it up, they're going to fall in just the right way that you're going to want them to. So just keep adding glue, keep adding layers. I do several layers, and you can go ahead and glue those on like I'm doing, and then pick it up and see how they're going to lay. And then you can still, because it takes the hot glue a minute to set, so you have enough space there and time to pick it up and still move those ribbons around a little bit if they're not laying the way you want them to. You see how that one wasn't spread as much as I wanted it to, so I just had to make a little adjustment. So just keep, as I said, just keep picking it up and seeing how they're going to lay. You're going to get a better look, because it is going to be worn on the head, and you want it to look good while it's being worn, not while it's being laid down. So again, I'm using this chevron print to match the bow itself, and you want to remove those wires because you want the ribbons to lay naturally. And I removed the wire when I made the bow part as well. I don't know if I said that or not, because this is not a wreath bow. I don't want the wires in it. I just think for mums that taking the wires out make better looking bows. So just gluing those on, each layer gets glued on, and you can go over the barrette. I keep trimming that off too. See, here I go. I just trimmed that off right at the edge of the barrette, because they will see the back side of this. You can't do as much covering with the hair bow mum. Again, you want to cut pretty ends, and you have to be careful when you heat seal these. I just do the corners because this is that thin ribbon, and it will melt very quickly. So I just do the very edges. That's where it frays the most. So I like to lay out all my ribbons, move them around, see how I'm going to like them. And as you can see, I'm doing several different kinds, several layers. And you can see what I'm talking about. It can be difficult to find the right place for the 2 ribbons that are going to need vinyl. If I actually didn't do vinyl, it would be much easier to make these hair bow mums. So you might keep that in mind for yourself if you're thinking, oh, I don't have any way to do vinyl, or I don't want to use scrapbooking stickers. Well, don't put their names on them at all, or do something different with their name. So I'm just adding more and more layers. And like I said, you can go over that barrette and just trim that off. Don't worry about that. Just keep holding it up, make sure everything lays the way you want it to. Keep trimming up those ends, and if they're a ribbon that might fray, then you want to heat seal them as well. See, I've got some diamond mesh ribbon as well, or diamond wrap, some people call it, whatever you want to call it. I've got glitter ribbons, I've got printed ribbons, I've got soft satins, I've got acetates, I've got grosgrain, I've got just any kind of ribbon you can think of. Anything that I have that's in royal blue, silver, or white, I'm adding to this, with different patterns, different textures. I like to really mix it up, and then, like I said, you want to keep holding that up and testing it and make sure you like where everything is. And sometimes I end up not liking where something is. Even though I played around with it, I still end up having to move stuff around because I'm not liking where it's laying or that it's not being seen. So yeah, just take it one ribbon at a time. This is a lengthy process, even though it's a small mum. I really want them to look really super cute, so I keep, really think about how it looks and play around with it and make sure that I really am happy with it before I finish it. So there's one of the ribbons for the vinyl, but I want to make sure that I don't cover that up because you want that to be seen. I want to add some more. Now I'm going to do the little ribbons on the side of it. I want to make sure that they lay beside it and not on top of it. So I've got some pretty glitter ribbons. Some of those glitter ribbons were from Hobby Lobby. I've got some that are from Dollar Tree. I just buy ribbons anywhere. Anywhere that they sell ribbons, if I find some I like, I buy them. I don't care if they're really expensive or if they're really cheap. I mean, I do care if they're really expensive. They have to be worth it. But I mean, anywhere that they sell ribbons, I'm going to look at the ribbons and see if I find something I like and make sure that it's not outrageously expensive. You want to make sure you're not losing money when you make these mums. And then I definitely wanted to get that chevron print on the streamers as well, since it's in the bow. And there is my second ribbon for the vinyl. Again, it needs to be on top and not covered up. Then I want to make sure I see that pretty silver glitter in the middle there. What would be the purpose of putting that on if I ended up covering the whole thing up? So I want to make sure everything's lining up great. This one is one of the Dollar Tree ribbons. It's a soft satin, and I love it. We found it this year, and it's so vivid. I mean, it's such a vivid royal blue. I love it so much. I've used it several times this year. This is definitely one you want to heat seal, and just very quickly run that lighter, or the flame from the lighter on the edge. Again, do it very quickly, that way it won't melt and it won't burn. Just make sure everything's laying the way you want it to. So these take a lot of work, just like any other mum. That it's, even though it's a small thing, it still takes quite a bit of work. Here's one with cute dots going down it. I don't remember where I got this one actually. I believe it's a grosgrain ribbon. And there I'm trimming. I'm always trimming. You don't want to let it get too thick up there before you start trimming, so do that pretty regularly as well. Just a little bit more. There's a silver glitter. That's a Hobby Lobby one too, because I can tell because it's a thin one. I've got some pretty glitter ribbons from Dollar Tree, but they're like 5/8 inch width, all of them, so I know which ones are from there. And then this pretty blue diamond mesh, and I believe that was from Hobby Lobby as well. And I don't, usually on a mum, I don't like gluing that all the way up where the mum flower would be, because it gets in the way of the backer. But since I'm not dealing with backers, you can glue it anywhere on there. You can glue it under the bow, because it's not going to compromise how you attach it. So you can glue that all the way up to the top if you want. And I'm actually just putting the glue on top because of the mesh way that it's made. The glue is going to go all in between there, so it's gonna seal it. And I'm actually cutting an angle at the bottom of that, because these you can cut to size and you can cut any shape, so I love that stuff. Just keep trimming. The glitter ribbons do not need to be heat sealed. You would actually ruin them. This is one that will need to be. Again, just very quickly run that across there so you don't melt or scorch the ribbon. That glitter ribbon, I believe, is like a velvet on the back side, so I am going to run the lighter really quickly, but you do have to be careful with those. They will catch on fire, so you have to be really careful. Now I'm going to do my two little bells, and I believe I'm using this silver cord ribbon. It's from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. No, it looks like I'm using a blue soft satin, but a lot of times I use this silver, and it's in the ribbon. It's on a spool like ribbon, but it's got a metallic look to it, and it's kind of roped look. And I can't remember if it's in the crafts or if it's in where the gift wrapping is, but they only sell it at Christmas, so I always get, they have it silver and red, and I can't remember what else, but it's really good for hanging trinkets and stuff on. You know, this is like some holographic mylar ribbon, so it's naturally curly, and I just thought that might be a fun thing to add. Instead of like the regular curling ribbon, this is going to be white and it's holographic with stars all over it. That I got at Paper Mart a few years ago, and I don't think it's available anywhere else. I mean, I don't think it's available there, and I haven't seen it anywhere since. So it's just one of those things that I found, and once I use up, I probably won't be able to find it again. But they do make other holographic ribbons and mylar ribbons and stuff that you can buy. And I'm just taking a couple of pieces and I'm going to glue it. You have to be careful when you glue this type of ribbon, though. It will shrink up when the hot glue touches it. It just like melts it. It starts shriveling, so you have to be very, very careful. And it's probably a good idea to kind of wait just a few seconds to let it cool down a little bit before. That isn't going to be seen, so it's not a huge deal. So I just thought that was a fun little addition there. I hadn't tried that yet on a hairbow mum, and I really like the way it turned out. So now I'm going to glue that on there. I like to put it on there first to make sure everything is where I want it, and it's going to look cute. Super cute. There's always a couple of hairbow mums, at least one, that I really, really like every season. And last year was the purple and gold one, and it was my absolute favorite. And then I had some others that I really liked that were really cute, but that was my absolute favorite. And this year I actually had about 3 that were my top favorites, and this was one of them. So I was glad I got to share this one with you guys since it was one of my favorites. So here I'm going to add a little glue in between the 2 bows, just to make sure they're nice and secure together. The one thing I didn't do ahead of time that I usually do is I take like the little football buttons, which you buy in the sewing department at Hobby Lobby, and I think you might be able to find some at Walmart too. I don't know if they have all the sports balls or not, but they have volleyballs and softballs and baseballs. I can't remember what else. Just about every sport, or the common sports. And you can run your chenille stem through that button and then attach it to the center of your bow. And for some reason, those little sports balls just make all the difference on these hairbow mums. So I ended up having to cut the back of the button off, the little loop, and then I just glued it to the center of the bow later. I don't know if I even got it on the tutorial or not. We'll see. But those little sports balls, they're inexpensive, and they just, I don't know, they just do something to the center of that bow that makes them so, so cute. When you're ready to attach that bow onto the French clip, just glue all across the French clip, on top of all those ribbon streamers, and then line your bow up before you touch it down there. You want to make sure that you've got it centered up exactly the way you want to attach it, and then just press down on it like I'm doing here. I had a little bit of that chenille stem sticking out, and I'm just going to lay it down behind the French clip and glue it actually to the French clip itself, so that just a little bit more security there. I don't normally do that. That was just something I wanted to try, just to add a little bit more glue and security to the whole thing. But I haven't had any issues with these coming apart, which is the glue on the front. I do use quite a bit of glue, but you want to be careful. You don't want to have it oozing out everywhere. Then, of course, there's all the hot glue strings that you got to get rid of. Well, you see that's pretty perfectly centered there, right in the middle of the bow. That's where you want it. And then you just kind of want to move your loops around and make sure everything looks good. Look how super cute that is. I know I've said that already. That's my favorite phrase, it seems, especially this year. Super cute. I can't help it. I just love it so much. Okay, so there's the little football like I said, you can do that in advance just like this and run the chenille stem and then wrap your chenille stem around the bow, and it'll be nice and secure on there. But I forgot. No big deal. Just cut off the back, that little loop off the back so it's flat, and then just glue that on there. See how cute that is? I mean, it was cute before that, but for some reason having that little football just makes all the difference. Of course, you could use, any kind of little rhinestone or gemstone or anything like that, but they do have tons and tons of cute buttons at Hobby Lobby, not just in the sewing department. They also have them in like the scrapbooking section as well. They do, or they did. I don't know if they still do. And then just going to add a few trinkets. I don't do very many. Again, I do 2 little bells, very, very small bells, and then I do usually one of these little stars, and then maybe mini trinket or 2 if they want. I offer different kinds of hair bow mums with extra trinkets or with glitter bow, with HTV vinyl, so I like to offer lots of different options. I did make that little bow on the side there. It's just a little cheer bow that I did not show, but everything else I showed. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, share, comment, like. Please be kind with your comments. Please be kind to others, and happy mum making, everyone.